Oh my goodness, live from the Loft 100 studios in sunny San Diego, California. On the Air is on the air. And what a giant show we have for you. Little Tommy, Rusty Nailz, and Sully and the Sully Band.
Are they doing that live?
Bam.
I can't believe that.
That's
it sounds
exactly right.
as good
Can I
as
just start the program? Just stop for, what is this?
Good morning, San Diego.
No, it's not.
Huh? Good morning.
Can you tell us what that's all
This
about?
is how I wake up and listen to my
hold on.
favorite radio.
I know. I forgot who's here today.
program.
Yeah, that's right.
No, it is.
Big radio show.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I've
the
always
biggest radio show.
It is.
And
No,
it
yes.
was. Like I'm saying, I go back to when I was high school. I was listening to, Hergon's Breakfast Club and all that stuff over in KGB, and still listening to that.
Yeah,
station.
KGB is
Yeah.
They are the
stick.
You know what? The DSC is KGB, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah. They started out as Dave, Shelley, and Chainsaw.
They started off as the Dawn Patrol.
That's exactly right. I beg your pardon. Weren't you part of the Dawn Patrol?
I think I broke
Or did you get
up.
fired for the
Yeah,
Dawn
something happened. Berger and Prescott left over there. Then Dave came in, and something happened. That's why they're here. To
But
So
explain.
this is your
all here.
homage to the morning show.
This is
Because
my homage.
this is
And
what-
by the way, if you'd like your company logo perhaps shaved right here into my chest, I can do that. $29.99 for the whole episode. No. Huh?
So okay, wait a second. So
Yeah,
long
yeah.
story short is, we've got the DSC here.
All of
so
them.
wait a second. We've had Dave. We've had a Cookie.
Yes.
We've had Boyer.
Yes.
Have we had anybody else? Have we
Not
had,
Emily.
Have we had Sarah?
Not Emily, not Sarah.
Had So we just got those two today.
Yeah.
So
we have all of them. We have all
You
five.
have all
of
five?
them.
Well, let's get the party
I
started.
thought there
man.
were
Yes.
6.
Take it.
She is one of the best and most respected radio producers in the entire country. She's the B in the DSC. Ladies and gentlemen, Sarah Beebe.
Bring her on in. Sarah, Phoebe, ladies and gentlemen, look at that.
Beautiful.
Look at you.
Sarah.
Wow.
Free Britney.
Well, good to see you.
And
So
she
first of
is.
all-
She is a Britney Spears fan, right?
Yes.
I mean, big time.
Big time.
Why is that?
Ridiculously obsessed.
Why is that?
I became obsessed with her the minute she came out. Mickey Mouse Club and then Baby One More Time since I was little, and I just wanted to be her. Now I want to free her.
Give me a chance to just wanted to be here. Just wanted to be her.
Yeah.
Now we want to
Free
free
her.
her.
Free her.
Had you ever get a chance to interview her? Ever?
I've never interviewed her, but I've met her 4 times.
Okay.
Wow,
talk-
that's
okay,
nice.
What's that all about?
Well, eventually when you stalk somebody enough, you can get backstage.
Right, right.
You can meet the right people.
Hence, all you guys are here.
Exactly.
Perfect.
The first time I met her was in 2009, right after, the 2007 meltdown and all that.
Right.
Oh,
and it
boy.
was the worst experience of meeting a celebrity that you could probably imagine. I cried. I was barely walking away from her. And I started crying because I was like, "Oh my God, this is so horrible.
She's a wreck.
She's a mannequin. She's drugged up, whatever." And all the stories are true. It seems
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
And then I met her 3 times at her Vegas residency, where at that time it seemed she was back. She was nice. She commented on my hair. I gave her a birthday gift, which was a necklace.
She commented on my hair.
She did. She
Of
told
all
me
the
my
things
hair.
you said, she's
Nice
had
She liked my eyes. She liked my hair.
Yeah.
I gave her a birthday gift, a necklace with her son's names on it, and the paparazzi photographed her wearing it
That's
out
not
of Starbucks.
stocky at all.
Not
That's
stocky
just
at
not
all.
weird.
Not at all. Any other similarities? Who runs your money?
We'll get there one day.
Who's taking care of all your cash? Yeah.
I know.
All right.
All right. So, okay. Well, first of all, welcome to the program. Great to have you along
for
today,
having us. We're so excited.
Sarah Beebe. All right. Now,
He is a longtime San Diego radio veteran. He's the most famous drummer in all of San Diego,
And he
and he's
doesn't
not
even
even a musician. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Chris Boyer.
Hey, hello.
Come running in.
there he is. Careful.
Yeah.
Don't
Good to see you.
Like a relief pitcher or something. You
Like
come
you're
in.
on The Price is Right or something.
Yeah, hey. Heck yeah.
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Boyer, how are you? Good to see you.
man, great
Long-time
to be
San Diegan, smartest person in all the city.
Well, as the statistics prove out, with Boyer versus the team.
That's right.
You got a track record too. Of being
Was
right.
that your idea, by the way, to do? Was that your idea to do Boyer versus the team?
No, I think it was Dave's, but I've long contended that there is a collective stupidification that happens because when people work together, you'll see one of them with the right answer, and then the other one just tears them away and completely misdirects them.
Are you ever concerned that someone's going to say, "What is the international solvent?" And they come out and they're going to say, and she's going to say vinegar, and but you already know they're never going to get to the word water. Correct?
Right, yes. You really hope. There have been one or two times where they've gotten it right. I'm like, oh, no, I knew that one and they got it. And then I have to fake.
But you're never concerned, ever? Not even a little?
No. In fact, a couple of times they've gotten the right answer or they've come up with something. I thought, that's a really good answer. And then they misdirect themselves. Yeah. They'll take an alternate. I'll pick the one from their cast-off pile.
Oh, I see. Right. That really makes
and that
them mad.
wound up being the right one.
And even when Cookie starts using the word extrapolate, and
those
are big legal words. Right?
Well, polysyllabism is not a problem for me.
Wow, look at you, done it right there.
Fantastic. So, Chris Boyer, welcome to the program. Again, when did you join the program again?
Day one.
Yeah, day one. I was the first producer of the show. I was also the almost least qualified and least talented producer of the show.
So is it weird that, the producer of the show is here and you're just the.
You're still the worst producer in the show.
No, I love Sarah. She's fantastic.
And before the show's over, you got to get on those drums and just at least
actually
do a
drum. You got to get on the drum.
I cannot. If Russ will tell a joke, I could do a rim shot. I've got great comedic timing.
We're teaming up.
But my
Stay tuned. All right.
Is that?
All right, very good. All right, who else we got? Let's go.
All right. She's the first lady of the DSC. On 9/11, she celebrates 20 years with the DSC. Ladies and gentlemen, Emily Suave McGuire.
Suave? Did we throw Suave in? I didn't know about this.
When I got married, that's my married name.
Is it really?
Yeah.
That is
Suave is the
I should
S
listen
in
closer.
DSC.
Yeah, that's right.
Suave.
Thank you for having me.
By the way,
isn't
my
it
name
true-
from now on is going to I just want to change it from Sully, Suave on the air. Okay. Suave speaks money.
You got it, Suave.
Let's do this.
But isn't it true, 9/11, you're celebrating 20 years?
Yes.
That's so
absolutely.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
20 years
Yeah.
on the DSC.
Half my life with them.
Where were you before?
Channel 933 and then radio in Seattle.
So I
That's
have
so
I have
cool.
a story. So when you're in the Kogo newsroom in the morning, you're kind of stuck here in this thing, and all the players of all of the morning shows walk in and out. And I will tell you this because we talk about you. You're the brightest person on the planet.
In the morning.
Pre-show, no, you are. She's always smiling. Do you notice this? Is this a show thing?
Emily's bubbly.
Like she's walking in. Hello, good morning, everybody. Like this
Suave bubbly.
Yeah. Ooh, I should
No,
start
honestly,
a line of booze.
you do have that essence, and I think everybody, all the grouchy people in the Kogo newsroom, just love it when you walk through and bring your little rainbow of sunshine and your sprinkles in. So
Well,
good stuff.
thank you so much.
So when you joined the DSC, what was your first position? What was your first job?
I was Shelley's news producer. I started there and then slowly moved up to producer and did that for 17 years before moving into First Lady when Shelley retired.
So are you still a newsie?
I'm becoming more newsy
yes.
in that role, even
Yeah.
more so than I was
sure.
as
Right.
producing. 'cause
More than producing. Huh?
the bulk of my producing years was for Dave, so that was more content, not necessarily news driven.
Did you plan to put your voice on at all, or was it just going to be production and behind the scenes stuff?
I always wanted to be on the radio. That's what I did in Seattle. And then I was board opping and I told one of the bosses, I'd love more opportunity. And they said, there's a morning show that needs a news producer. I was like, sure, I'll try that. Why not?
That's it, huh? Very good. And now
The
you're
rest is
you're
history.
here. And now we've talked both of them to come in here, which I know is a long. That's a long day. You guys have
Sarah
kids.
wanted
You guys
to.
have kids and stuff, and it's early in the morning. I get it. All right. What else? Who else? Who's next?
All right.
Suave bubbly.
He's a radio icon. He's a sports icon. He's the most talented person I have ever witnessed on the radio. He's my studio roommate, ladies and gentlemen, Cookie Chainsaw Randolph.
Oh my! See, my goodness.
Look at this look.
Polysyllabic.
There he is.
Oh, hello, dear.
I love your hair.
Oh, I love yours.
Hi.
Great to see you.
How are you? What's happening,
are you?
Roomie? Good to see you.
Yeah.
Hello, brother.
Did she ever give you a necklace with your kids' names on it?
No.
No. Okay,
No,
just go in there.
Never had that. How's everybody?
Did you ever run in Las Vegas?
Pardon me?
Did you ever have a run in Las Vegas? A residency in Las Vegas?
Yeah.
No, I have never had a residence.
I barely had a hotel room in Las Vegas. Exactly. So one of my favorite things is hearing the story of the inception of the DSC.
Yes.
And how you found Dave Rickards. And let me paraphrase here because we only have half of a show left to go. Yeah. But somebody gave you a box of tapes. You said you're going to find this guy no matter what. And you started driving up the 5 North. And you hit the Loma Santa Fe exit.
That is right.
Which is just one past the Via de la Valle exit and one prior to the Manchester exit. Since I'm trying to keep the story short.
Wells Fargo right there in the corner.
Take it from there.
Near Vaughn's.
Well, yeah, and the story goes is there was this big box of tapes, right?
Yeah.
And I was assigned to find the host for our opening, which is kind of like the deputy hiring the sheriff. And
We know why, because what happened to your other partners?
they joined you
Thank you
over
very
at
much. Okay,
91X.
continue.
And
Just
they're
wanted
no
to get
longer
in.
in radio. Perfect.
Just wanted to get in there somewhere. Go ahead. Yeah.
And so, I popped in Dave's tape at Loma Santa Fe, and the talent just burst from the speakers, as it still does every day.
Right.
And I knew we had our host.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, there was only the one tape. Nobody else wanted to play with me.
And you were busy.
You were at 91X, you were at B100.
Yeah.
And,
The box of tape.
so out of a sense of mutual desperation, I guess, we came to terms. And I'm not going to say that KGB lowballed Dave Rickards, but Wilford Brimley, a naked Wilford Brimley, with his foot on a bench, et cetera, et cetera. And the rest is history.
Fantastic.
It certainly is.
So what year was that?
1990.
1990. Do you remember what you were doing in 1990?
I'm still trying to get Wilford Brimley and the whole oatmeal thing out of my mind. What year was this again?
1990.
I have no
You were
idea.
at
My last-
91X
Oh,
with
was
Berger
I?
and Prescott, and you were at B100.
My last
yeah.
memory of Wilford Brimley was him selling diabetic supplies.
Wasn't
If I'm not
that it?
mistaken. It
The guy
wasn't
with
the
the big
oatmeal thing
mustache?
anymore.
You look like that. Some politician looked like that for a while. Anyway, we're off in the weeds. Let's introduce
Yes.
this man we're talking about.
Yes.
Or
the
else
tape.
continue without him.
Either way, we have that option.
We can't do that.
Nope.
All right.
We cannot do that. We will not
He
do that.
is the undisputed king of morning radio in San Diego, celebrating over 31 years right here in town. He is the D of the DSC. Ladies and gentlemen,
All right.
Dave
All right.
Rickards.
Here we go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
See, I feel like I'm at home
Great to see
now.
you again. It's always great to see you.
How are you, Sully? I love seeing you. Good to see you.
I love seeing you in public. I love seeing you over a big steak. I love seeing you in
That's
the
right.
studio.
We did.
Well, first of all, thank you very much. All of you are here.
Yeah.
And there's Anna as well, but she has a baby. I assume that's why she couldn't make it. But you guys have 6 people. 5 of you are right here together. How cool is that?
Yeah, it feels good.
And you're celebrating 31 years in San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
How does that make you all feel?
Oh, God.
No, but wait a minute.
Very lucky. Very,
Yeah.
very lucky.
Not many shows have done that in the country, in the world. 31 years. Let's start with Chainsaw. How does that make you feel? 31 years.
Dave took my line. Old. It feels very gratifying. And yeah, we are extraordinarily fortunate. We get along. It's fun every day. It really is. It takes a little while, but once I get that coffee going, start writing, everybody comes in. Every day, it's like that Broadway show or you get out there and the light turns on, and it's fun.
Are you the first one there, by the way?
I think so, yeah.
No, he knows so. And Emily, you're celebrating 20 years on 9/11, but the show's lasted 31 years. How does that feel to be in that, that second seat?
That legacy category.
It feels great. I never would have imagined that I would have been able to stick with one show for 20 years because that just doesn't happen in radio. So I feel extremely blessed.
Don't I know it?
Do you remember that first day?
Well, my first day, my
Hold on, let's bring it to hands.
yeah,
Okay, gentle time.
Bring us back to a gentler time. That first day.
that first day.
Production value to this bit.
They were intimidating AF, and I was scared out of my mind, but I just put my head down and did my work.
Wow.
And it worked out.
It certainly did. And Boyer, you were there actually before Dave, right?
I was. I started at K-Pop, AM 1360 in 1985. Doing the overnight board op thing where I pushed all the buttons and played a tape of the DJ.
In an analog world, right?
Yeah. So I didn't get to talk, but I got to push the button that started the tape of the guy who did talk.
Who were the personalities at K-pop at that time? Jerry G. Bishop?
No,
people
we
like
had
that, or-
the great Bob Mills.
Bob
Mills.
Hello.
Yes, was there. Don Howard, J. Michael, Pete
Jonathan
Muller,
Dunrankin on news.
Carolyn Van was there. And,
Your dad a little bit?
My dad was there. He had the Saturday Night Request show. That's right. Mike Guyman, who was there as well.
And did you ever plan on talking on the radio?
Yes, because I had broadcast in my family. My dad did many years at radio and television, Kogo here in San Diego, and then Channel 10. Ooh, can I say that?
Yes.
Okay.
We'll get it in editing.
Channel Perfect.
Where were you conceived?
In the back of the
Channel 10 mobile wagon.
That's right. My father was a news reporter screaming, "This just in!" Ah!
Everybody.
So,
We'll get this all in editing.
Right.
In fact, you're not even on the show. Anyway,
So Dave, you guys have the recipe for the perfect cake. You've always had the recipe for the perfect cake. And that perfect cake throughout the years has changed a couple of times. But it still feels legacy from the very first time you were on the air for me. First time I listened to you and you had Ruthie on the air and Shelley on the air and so on and so forth. But to this day, it still feels like the same show. Does it feel like the same show to you? Because to the listener, it's like, yeah, that's DSC. If you hadn't listened for 5 years and listened back, you'd still hear the same thing.
As long as I'm looking through the glass and I see that guy, it's the same show.
Is that right?
That guy. First guy I saw. That's who the baby born imprinting on the other person. That's who I imprinted on.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, we have lots to go, but before we do that, can we just say hi to the band real quick? Look at that. What's up there?
we must.
It's the Sully Band without the Sully, which I think is good. Why don't you guys play us a little something out for a second? Because you'll notice we don't have the horn section here because this show is going to be the classic rock show. It's only going to be classic rock music for you guys, so we left the horn section at home. So guys, take it away.
Down around the corner, after my front head, I see that long chimney, watch it disappear. But I love, where would you be now, now, now? But I I thought I saw Miss Lucy down along the track. She lost home and her family, and she won't be coming back. But I love, where would you be now? Na, 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 na. But I love. All right. You don't care for me, I don't care about that. That little fool, I like it like that. I've only got a burning desire. Let me stand next to your fire. Oh, let me stand next to the fire. Oh, let me stand. Oh, let me stand next to the fire.
I don't even see the need. I don't even need to go anymore.
The Suave
Honestly.
Band. That's what we're calling them now.
I often turn off my stuff. I start the song and I just turn it off. No, they are. You got James East, who's played with Eric Clapton and Lionel Richie, and you got Arnie Vilches there on lead guitar and vocals today. He's played with Grand Funk, and then you got Trace. Trace Hudson, our drummer, is 65 years old today. Was the original drummer.
Wait a minute, hold on.
Mark Hattersley wrote the soundtrack to Beaches, and of course, not from the island to Lemon Grove via Panama, Nacho Sobers, who the whole damn show.
Oh, yeah.
The Sully, part of the Sully Band. Yeah. Thanks for that.
But you know what, James, you're going to introduce me to Eric Clapton because I saw your brother Nathan post that Eric's going on tour. So if he comes to San Diego, we all got to meet Eric.
Yeah, that'll be easy. That'll be a piece of cake.
All right. So the DSC's here. I love producers, so I appreciate that you're here.
Thank you.
Because in my opinion, the producer of a show like this has to be very talented, and I believe you are. But how does it feel to produce a legacy show, a heritage show like that DSC?
Well, I've peaked in my career at 37 years old. It's still insane that I was the one chosen to replace Emily as she moved up to First Lady. Because, I mean, that's insane. It's awesome to still have her there, you know, and so I feel like she's like my little comfort blanket having her there. But the chance that I was given the opportunity to show that I could work with a show like this and help, I don't know, just help add something different. The fact that they hired my crazy ass onto this show too.
Well, she had a box of tapes. She was on her way north. I think it was Loma Center. Or wait a minute.
I remember the day they actually hired you because you posted it on social media. You were at the old KFMB building, and I remember you were so excited that they hired you just to be like an assistant. And it was such a cool post, and I looked at that post and I was jealous. You know, I was. I'm actually.
You were never going to get the nod. I'm just going to tell you right now. That was never in the cards, man.
I am very jealous of these guys.
You're on TV now.
But no. But because you guys did it. I mean, you guys didn't dinosaur out. You guys haven't dinosaured out.
It's like another show that comes to mind. I forget what it is.
Listen, but it's so cool. But it's so cool that, you know, in San Diego, there's a show that lasted as long as you guys have. I mean, 31 years. That's reason to celebrate. That's why you guys are here. 31 years. I don't know. That's like 7 U.S. presidents. I mean,
that
seriously.
Is, you think in terms of mayors. That's a lot of scandal. In fact, Dave, think about that. That is a lot of scandal that you've thought of. I mean, I think in terms of how many times did we talk about losing the stadium over that many times, right? How many times? Like how many scandals you went through the
new airports coming to San Diego.
Yeah,
Jesus.
exactly, right? The of course, you know, we learned things during your tenure, things like the Filner headlock wasn't even there before you started radio.
Lock 'em and lick 'em.
Okay, wow, that's wrong. So I've heard
a lot of
this from
editing
Dave.
for you guys today.
No, don't edit.
Boyer's whole part, that thing. Here we go.
I've heard this from Dave. I've heard it from Cookie. I've heard it from Boyer. What is your favorite moment on the show to date? Do you like to date?
My favorite moment, the first one that jumps to mind is when we had Sugar Ray Leonard in studio and I was producing the show. And what was the...
Howard Cosell.
Okay. He did a bit with Howard Cosell, and Sugar Ray is just in stitches, enjoying his, like you could just tell he was genuinely enjoying his time. And he walked out of the building. I had to, you know, I was producing the show at the time. I walked him out, and he was just laughing like he had had the most fun of his life. And that was just a reflection of what we get to do every day. But for a stranger to come in, and a lot of times the guests, they just want to get in, promote their stuff, and get out. And he just enjoyed himself, and that's what we're lucky enough to do every day.
What was Howard Cosell?
Yeah, what did Howard say?
Yeah, what was that?
Sugar Ray. What did
He called from heaven.
Did he?
Hello again,
That's good.
everyone. How are you? Sugar. Benito, you know, Wilfred Benitez, Sugar Ray Leonard with Thomas Hearns and No Moss, Roberto Duran, and then I died, and I don't know what
And you got to
That's
figure,
fantastic.
listeners are doing the same thing. They're getting that much enjoyment out of listening to a bit and hearing his response.
Yeah, and Dave interviewing is just the king of that. You know, I've learned
Yeah.
so much watching that happen, and so these two
Yeah.
with guests in the studio, but that one,
Have
Sugar
either
Ray.
of you ever got nervous or starstruck
hell yeah.
with a guy coming in?
Oh, yeah.
You know,
talk
Costner,
about
your buddy
me so much.
Costner. You know, maybe the guy who did Yellowstone. Maybe you've heard of it.
Costner's been on the show.
Was
sure.
he one of them?
He was really cool.
Oh, he was.
He was really cool, very, very generous, good with his time. He was easy, piece of cake. Yeah.
Who would be the one that would have, you know, made
The
you
other side of that
start
spectrum.
shaking like Don Knotts?
Who made us nervous, do you think?
Nobody made you nervous that I could tell. I do get starstruck, so it's good that I just sit back and watch because he asks every question. I've never seen an interview where he's left the question unasked. Right. But Alan Shepard was big for you. I remember that.
I was starstruck by Alan.
Yeah.
The one that threw us off off my tracks more than anybody else was Buzz Aldrin. He just absolutely derailed me.
Really?
I don't remember what anniversary of Apollo landing on the moon. it was, but we had a huge production piece with Def Leppard playing and Rocket, and I had the sound of the aircraft landing on the moon, which, by the way, they almost ran out of gas. It was a very tense situation. It was rough going, and they land, and there's clapping, and then Def Leppard is singing. It was perfect. I mean, I had engineered the second greatest thing in the history of the world. The first being them landing on the moon. And I said to Buzz, you are a key part of the greatest scientific and engineering feat in the history of the world. What are your feelings like that on this day? I wish everyone would quit making such a big goddamn deal out of it. We knew what we were doing. Well, thanks for calling, Buzz.
Yeah, great. All right.
And what do you say to
There's
that?
nothing left to say.
It's almost like when Peter Tork comes in and says, "Don't ask me about the monkeys."
Some call me the gangs of love. Well, some people call me Maurice, 'cause I speak of the prompters of love. Don't talking about me, baby. Say I'm doing you wrong, doing you wrong. Don't you worry, don't worry. Love isn't always on time. Hold the line. Love isn't always on time.
Well done, boys. Nice job, boys. Wow. There's been a few times I've been able to listen to my own band. You know, like, which brings me to, like, I think we did a thing in the Belly Up. Rebecca Jade came up, very, very talented singer. Was Artist of the Year last year for Standing Up Music Awards. I got a chance to listen to my own band thinking, I should never walk up there again.
Agreed.
Those guys
That's
are,
why I have this position this week. I'm
It's true.
flocking.
But do you,
That's not true. I remember the first time I saw you singing, and it's like, wait, who's doing the voiceover on this? I was blown away the first
he
time I
does.
saw you
Dave.
playing
Yeah,
and
come on,
singing.
please, yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
you are very. You are.
You know what I
fantastic.
aspire. You know, nobody else knows. Dave knows what I aspire to in this town. There's one gig I want to play, and that we didn't get to do it. He knows the
We'll
gig.
get there.
He
It'll
knows the
happen.
gig. I'm not going to say anything,
It's
but
going to happen.
Live at the Sky Show.
not saying anything.
Oh, do you have that picture back there? Me and my Sky Show T-shirt. I have one of the first KGB Sky. It looks like it was made with a sparkler, but I love that shirt because that Sky Show was, it was the best. It still is.
So Boyer, I got a question for you. So since your office, have you ever seen Boyer's office, by the way?
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen? I had an Uncle Jim that found a Volkswagen one time when he cleaned out the garage. Didn't realize it was in there.
It's a perfect office. It's the perfect radio.
It is. It's got can after can of full sugar
Yes.
Coke stacked up like bowling pins.
Oh, decorating
And
with
90% of the time,
empties.
I know you guys think he's prepping. He's watching YouTube on how to fix a carburetor. But honestly, you do put together Best of the DSC. I believe that's what
I
it's
do.
called.
I'm the archivist.
On Saturdays.
Yes. And the librarian.
And the librarian. And I think a lot of us, who are on air get to catch you guys from that show. Do you ever listen to that show when it finally comes out? And do any of you ever listen to
I didn't know we
yourselves?
had a best of show. Are we doing that still? We still have that?
Get the contracts out again.
Okay.
Replay them, Mike.
Because I'm on the show, I can't actually listen back to my own voice. It's horrifying. And you also think, oh, I wish I'd said, when you hear the bit. So as your own worst critic,
Or
it's
not
very
said.
difficult.
Yeah, we're not, yeah.
Or I wish I hadn't said. Yeah, in some cases.
Bigger category?
Bigger category, yes. By about 90%. So sometimes it's very difficult to listen to your own performance.
Emily, you ever listen back?
I'll catch it occasionally on Saturdays or driving into work, flipping through.
No, I can't listen to myself.
I've tried.
That's a tough one, isn't it?
I've tried on Saturdays because there's some things happen on the show that are so damn funny. I can't wait to listen back as a listener, not in the studio.
Right.
So I actually love, like on the way to Row on Saturday mornings or wherever, I love listening to it. But there are many times I have my kids in the car. I have a 9-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 3-year-old. And I am like, oh crap. And I am turning the radio down. I'm like, nope, can't listen. It's not safe because it's too good.
Do you know who loves listening?
Mostly from mommy's mouth.
Do you know who loves listening back? One of our friends here loves listening to archives.
Forgot about that.
Oh,
This is it.
You ever listen
This
back?
is
Tom?
it.
You ever
I
listen
hadn't
back?
heard.
Yeah.
You ever listen back to the
What
human
is-
flag?
I actually listen back to the DSC because I still learn from these guys. And that's my next question. I have a bunch of questions for Mr. Rickards.
What question?
Mr.
Where do we
Rickards.
get a chain to hold
All
that?
right.
Like a swag chain.
Like the Padres.
Wait. People up and down that hallway at iHeartRadio look up to you, look up to all of you. What can you tell someone that's getting into radio right now that has a morning radio show, maybe 5 years into radio? What can you tell them that maybe they can be just like you in a couple of years?
Probably the same thing that you would say. We just love it. I think all of us just do that job because we love it so much. Just like you do, just like you did for, how long were you guys on the air? 30 years, something like that?
28.
I mean,
round
so
up.
much of it is just because you, well, yeah,
I round up.
yeah. Just because you love it so much. Just go in, have your fun.
Yeah, but I've learned this from you recently. You work hard. You don't just walk in and say, "Hey, what are we doing?" Where does that work? Where does that work
Heard of a
ethic come?
left-handed compliment?
No. You work hard. I mean,
Someone like you.
No.
Made it 31 years.
Listen,
Because it sounds like you wing it.
but you don't wing it because
Doesn't it sound that way, though? It does sound like it's just people talking.
And
Because I
that's
get this at
beautiful.
parties all the time, especially when the girls have been drinking. I think I'd be really good at what you do. And I generally say, I don't think you would. frankly.
But you
don't,
do
brain
plan.
surgeons don't get that. You don't have brain surgeons at a party having people coming up and saying, I think I'd be good at what you do. Now, the
But
trick is to
isn't
make it
hey,
just sound casual.
Is it cool though? Going out like to the grocery store and having someone come up to you and go, "Oh my gosh, I listened to you all my life."
It's fantastic, and you know what has like doubled it is being on KUSI in the morning.
Wow.
I get a lot of recognition now after being on Good Morning San Diego.
You won't be able
which
to go
you
out
produce
after
for us.
this thing airs.
That's right.
Forget about it.
I love it.
Hey, where did you grow up?
I love it, and I think people who say being famous stinks, they're lying. Being famous is awesome. It is. It's great. No burden. It's great. I grew up in Chicago.
And how did you get into radio?
My father's in radio. My father was in radio forever and ever. I thought that I had passed him and his time, but I was talking to him the other day, and I think he did 35 years doing mornings. And I was like, I'm not going to catch you, Pop. I'm just not going to make it. But, he used to take me to work with him when I was a little boy. He was really generous with that.
So it's in your blood.
In my
Now, being in Chicago, growing up in Chicago, that's where everyone was. All the great talent,
Including Jeff and Jer, who were there for 10 seconds on WFYR.
I remember.
I remember.
Heard of but you had everyone. I mean, from the Loop, from Brandmeier and all them.
Stephen Gary.
Who influences you?
Those guys, Brandmeier, Stephen Gary, my father, more than anybody, my father on the radio. My father taught me everything that I had known. Yeah.
So how did it start? Okay, day one, April 1st, 1990. You guys hit that button. You guys are on the air. Did you guys plan? How did it work? Why did it work so well? I want to know the secret.
Well, you know the secret. You did it for 28 years.
30. We round up.
God, a minute ago it was like 26.
I can tell you the very first break, I was so nervous I called Dave Rickards, Shelley Dunn, and Cookie Chainsaw Massacre.
Which is what I do every morning anyway.
Any local DJs come to mind that could have influenced you? You better believe it, baby.
All right, on the air is on the air. We'll see you in a second. I got a question for Cookie when we come back.
Which is why Boyer always wears long pants. Meanwhile, in the National Band.
Love this band. You know, Sully said I could sing with the band if I sang tenor. 10 or 11 feet from the microphone, am I right? Oh, wow. Tough crowd. No respect here. I feel like Dangerfield. You know, a friend of mine wrote a great joke for Rodney Dangerfield. And it goes, my wife, she's hooked up to a machine that keeps her alive. It's the refrigerator.
Skitball Association.
a refrigerator. Hello.
And that's the whole show. We're out of time. Boy, you really can't play the drums.
I can't. I'm really the least
You were on beat. You were on beat. That was it.
It's a little.
All right.
I got a question for Cookie. So we just got out of a horrible pandemic, obviously, and it obviously decimated a lot of industries and such. But sports was a big deal. Last time I checked, you're a sports guy. There was no sports for several months. How did you do that? How did you navigate? How did you navigate March, April, May, June of last year? That was a rough one because you were on the air every day, right?
Well, there were ancillary stories about when they're coming back and all the little angles and twists from there. So I just went with that.
The NBA bubble, and they're working in that.
Yeah, exactly. When the bubble's going to happen, local sports, all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, so I just played those angles.
Well, and speaking of COVID, obviously you guys survived on air during COVID. Was there ever any? Still going?
Yeah.
Still going?
Still nervous.
Well, which is fine. There are people, which is absolutely fine. Did you guys ever do the show outside the studio? Because we've hit nothing. Everything was always in the studio. You decided, you know what? We're going to test ourselves. We're going to be fine. We're going to keep in our own little huddle here. So, because it turned out to be sort of this interesting thing for everybody in radio. Whether suddenly everybody had a home studio or a digital audio workstation, and many of them made it. Many of them didn't. But you guys were able to hang on, right?
That was going on. A lot of places went home for a couple of months, and I texted everybody. I said, we have all the gear, we have all the software ready to go. Every single person said, I'm coming in. No one wanted to stay home.
Exactly.
You see a lot of news shows that we're on where they're coming from their kitchen or their bedroom. It just started getting really weird. Like, here's headlines. Kids running by.
Some guy doing a story in a house coat. You know, like a bathrobe.
So April 1st, April Fools, everyone talks about the space shuttle bit. Can you talk about that? Because that's one of the most iconic bits in all of the radio history.
Damn it! I wish people wouldn't ask me about that anymore.
Well, you know what?
Adopt the old buzz line now. Jeez, fun.
Tommy, it was one of those things that we did, and I think Chainsaw and Boyer, principal players in that, would agree with me that when we were doing it, we thought it'd kill an hour and we'd be done and we'd move on. Little did we know that it would become such an event that it was. It was a lot of fun doing it.
And how did it happen though? Like,
how did it happen?
Yeah, like what happened? Why did it get so iconic?
Believable.
Suckers. I mean, they just fell for it. I don't know. Everyone wanted to see the space shuttle landing, so we told them it was coming down at a Cessna airport, and a couple thousand believed it.
I equate that to like bands. They think, well, this is just some stupid song. Next thing, it's the greatest song in the world. People always, gee, I didn't think it would be that good, really.
Are you guys still writing together? Do you guys sit down and do your thing together and write bits out at this point?
Chainsaw and I do, yeah. We just did one last week, as a matter of fact. We sit down.
A lot of times he'll write the bit already in his head, and he says, "What if you have Buck Bicep do this or Aunt Edna do that?" And I go, "Yes," and it's the spark, and then it's over.
That's right, yeah.
Wow. And he usually has the punchline too.
How do you produce for something like that, Emily? Is it just you sit back and we're not doing that story. They're going on this way, right? I mean, sorry.
Dave and I
been drinking during the commercial break.
We'll get that in post, along with the joke.
How do you deal with that, Emily?
I sit back and watch her deal with it.
Right?
It's
your problem now.
Was it hard for you for being a producer for 17 years and then letting it go? Did you let it go?
It was hard in the beginning. I would be emailing her like, do this, here's an idea, because I know what Dave likes without having to, communicate with each other.
You two can read each other's mind like no other, and that's not something that can be taught. They just have this amazing connection. So yeah, she really was so helpful in the transition to send me like, she could guess what you would want to do next. Incredible.
All right, much more to come. On the Air is on the air with the DSC. Oh my goodness, he was
I saw a shimmering light. My head grew heavy and my side grew dim. I had to stop for the night. As I stood in the doorway, I heard the mission bell. I was thinking to myself, this could be heaven or this could be hell.
Arnie. That's Arnie Vilches. Arnie Vilches, who plays with the folks from Ren Funk. He also plays with us for years and years. I think you're one of the oldest members of this band. Like, not chronologically. I mean.
Backhanded compliment day.
It is.
Normally, I wouldn't buy a shirt like that, but I love it.
Looks good on you, though.
Yeah. You rock. Okay. Are those Bitcoins? Okay.
So the DSC starts at 6 a.m., actually 5 a.m. every weekday morning. But at 7:40, there's something I'm addicted to, and that's the simulcast you guys do on Good Morning San Diego. How's that been going?
It's great, and you would know that because you are the producer of that and write the bits and take all the credit for it.
see.
You are the reason it's so good. Love working with you on that.
No, I love working with you guys,
Yeah.
and it is so cool because the night before, you do call and you do say, hey, what about this? What do you think of that? Think about this. So I kind of feel like I'm the seventh member
But you're not.
of the DSC.
You can put your trophy away now. Anyway,
But it is cool, and that's why I'm kind of amazed that Dave works so hard 31 years later. I mean, he does work hard, and that you deserve everything you guys are getting these days.
Will any of you retire out of morning radio and say, you know what, I'm done with morning radio, now I'm going to do a talk show somewhere. I'm done with morning radio, now I'm going to produce a younger radio. Anything like that ever cross your mind? Or, this is it?
Captain Cookie cartoon show.
I think morning show is the only thing for me. I can't speak for anybody else.
is your body clock completely reset? There's no chance getting back to normal.
Oh, I don't know. I can't imagine. Because on weekends I wake up then too.
Sure.
It's sad.
So Boyer,
Yes.
so about 15 years ago, we're at a red light. We're going into work at the iHeart building. I'm in a car at the red light. You're
Which
in
is
the
good when you're at
Right.
You're in the next car over. And I don't look at you and you don't look at me because I think we were kind of like button heads at the time. But then the light turns green and you become Richard Petty. And so where did that love for cars come from?
My grandfather was a mechanic, and so I spent a lot of summers in my grandfather's garage and his shop, his place of business. My dad could bust a knuckle changing a light bulb. But there was just sort of a
It can happen.
skip
So it
in
skipped a
generation.
generation.
Yeah, it did.
And now you're wearing mechanic shirts without the patches,
name.
right?
I do, right, I know.
Was the
Stu,
acceleration because of a love of driving or a hatred of Jeff and Jer show?
just a hatred of Jeff and Jer.
That's what I
Truly,
thought.
truly, it was just a rival show thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember one time we had the Jeff and Jer show had their door propped open because the air conditioning wasn't working, and they were doing a sad recipe about a dying dog or some.
They're cooking a dog?
Yes.
Anything to make someone cry.
and the tears were flowing, and the women were batting at the moisture of their eyes, and we have these giant.
Excuse me. So, hold on a second. Did you just say batting at the moisture of the... Which, by the way, sounds like a love song. I may have to write it.
Please do. Please do. And the Jeff and Jer studios were right outside the single-holer bathrooms down the hallway, and they had a giant stool that you could flush like an NFL football or a lobster down
Interesting
there.
choice of words.
And so they're on the air, and I didn't even have to use the bathroom. I was just walking by and knew they were on. The mics are hot, and I kicked that flusher on. And I heard Laura Kane laugh a little bit and giggle under the mic. But I don't think anybody else appreciated. Strictly rivalry, strictly a professional hatred.
Hey, radio today is this. Radio, in my opinion, is bigger than ever. Everyone always says, hey, radio, what happened to radio? I disagree because radio is bigger. You guys have podcasts now. You guys have social media. How did you guys adjust to that? Because you guys are kicking butt in all those platforms. Emily.
Oh, just did what I was told. I don't know. I mean, you go out and live your life and absorb the social media platforms in real life, and then that comes into the studio and makes for a good radio show. So you just live it and embrace it and make
Do
it
you
work for
hold
you.
back at all? Do you tell all?
I tell most. I tell most.
Dave,
So-
do you think podcasts and digital media are going to overtake terrestrial radio someday, where it's not going to be satellites and radio studios? And such?
Terrestrial is still free. It's still in everyone's car. I hear it's on everyone's phone.
Yeah.
I also hear we still have 50% of the marketplace, which no one else has. So
Exactly right. I think it's the same thing with online shopping. If you ask a single person, what percentage of retail shopping is done online? Everyone will tell you 50%. It's like 16%. Like honestly, I think that's the same sort of thing. Is that we haven't completely bought into the digital world.
It's a lot harder to shoplift too.
Yeah.
See?
Nobody gets it. Nobody gets
Push
it.
a button, would you?
Cookie, I got to talk about the Padres before you get out of here.
Yeah.
I mean, what a fantastic season the Padres are. Are you you've lived and died like Dave lives with the Cubs and dies with the Cubs, right? By the way, are you a San Diego fan now all the way?
oh yeah.
Okay, all
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Because born and raised here, Boyer, Rusty, myself, little Tommy. I don't know if any of you were born in San Diego, but we're used to when the COVID had the half stadium full for a while. That's what the Padres looked in most seasons in the 70s. Like, well, this
God.
looks like a Padre game.
Or even 4,000 people.
right,
we had
exactly.
before.
Does it feel good?
At Jack Murphy.
Does it feel like we're going to get somewhere this year? I'm just asking a pro.
Well, they're in the driver's seat for the second wild card spot right now, and if their pitching can gel a little bit, they need to pick it up a little bit. And if they catch magic in the bottle in October, that's what it's all about. If everyone's healthy, if they get pitching.
I heard a good joke at the guy they called the sheriff. What's the pitcher's name? Paddock, and they said now he's more of the mall cop. It's not doing as well.
So Cookie, you got the 84 Padres, you got the 98 Padres, and now the 2021 Padres. Do they compare to those two?
Well, it's kind of a different game, but we don't have Tony.
No, it's true.
We don't have Tony, but we have Fernie. We do. And Manny. Yes.
Fernandez. Is Fernie?
Such talent. The talent is just amazing. It's so extraordinary between those two guys in particular. Machado fielding is just a treat.
The Slamarena story.
Yes!
That
got-
was
Oh
amazing.
God, that 9-8 game?
Yes.
We have Sarah Beebe,
Thank you, guys.
Cookie Chainsaw Randolph, Emily McGuire, Mr. Dave Rickards, and Chris Boyer, the DSC.